Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. You can read between the lines and see what's happening here. Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. Look, that fight's off as of right now. They just haven't announced it. That fight's off, man. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to get the fight in September sometime. But right now, this is what you got. You don't have a licensed promoter to promote the fight. That's a problem. No venue, okay, where the fight will be held. No broadcaster. The date has gone from the 12th, a Friday night, to now the 13th of September, tentatively. Nothing's set in stone. This is, what I'm telling you is, the shit's falling apart. Now, 13 September is when the UFC is having their event. So Crawford and Canelo, in their event, is going to compete with the UFC's Mexican Independence Day card. That's just crazy. Now I'm going to tell you from my own experience when dealing with organizing events, organizing committees, and I've done a lot of that. Not boxing events, but I've done a lot of organizing events and things, especially being a community coordinator and some volunteer stuff that I've done. A lot of years doing that shit, right? When you start seeing dates change, not too big of a deal. But when things start falling out, man, place to have events, sponsors, just et cetera, et cetera. What ends up happening, right, is the event gets canceled and they may reschedule at a later date or they sort things out. But what Turki Al-Sheikh has not done yet, I think because of his own pride and ego, is he hasn't just come out to the boxing public and said, look, Crawford and Canelo's on hold until we sort everything out. It's not wise to try to compete with the UFC Mexican Independence Day weekend fights. It's just not wise. Canelo and Crawford are supposed to break records. Canelo and Crawford are supposed to do what Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather did. Canelo, Floyd Mayweather did. Floyd and McGregor did. Floyd and De La Hoya did. Okay, it's supposed to do something along those lines. But this Crawford and Canelo fight, I have a feeling it's just not going to get the support that fight deserves. Now, we know Canelo brings a lot to the table. Crawford doesn't bring anything to the table as far as fan support like Canelo, but he does bring fans, he does bring viewers. At the same time, I got to be fair because, man, with all this illegal streaming stuff that takes place, it's kind of hard to say what anyone outside of Canelo, what kind of attention they bring to the sport because so much of it is masked behind the piracy. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, Dana White is a guy who, if you directly challenge him, he takes that personal. And to hear that Turki Al-Sheikh decided to move his event from the 12th, which was a Friday, with Dana White's event happening on the 13th on a Saturday. Now, Turki Al-Sheikh has moved, supposedly moved the event to the 13th. That just sounds like a problem. And Turki Al-Sheikh, but this is the thing, he's no longer doing the event in Vegas. It's either going to be in New York or Texas. Crawford and Canelo in New York. I just don't think it gets the support out there. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think so. Now, you put that in Texas? Oh yeah. I live in San Antonio. Let me tell you something. You bring Canelo ass out here fighting Crawford, that shit's gonna get the support. I was talking. Let me just tell you something. So, I'm always out here talking boxing. Some cats recognize me. It's a trip. I'm walking there like, yo, you that guy that talk boxing. So, I'm coming famous and shit. But we are, out here talking to some of my Mexican friends and some guys I don't know, but they're Mexican cats. And I'm like, who wins, Crawford or Canelo? And what most of them, you know what they're telling me right now? They're like, dude, I'm Mexican, but I don't know. That's what they're saying now. They're like, I don't know. I said, damn, you first, y'all, you sure you want to say that? They were like, yeah, don't tell nobody I said that shit. You tell somebody I said, I'm going to deny it. They have me laughing. But they said they just feel Crawford has a good chance to defeat Canelo. And the reason I say that is, for those of you who are thinking if they have a fight here in Texas, no one knows who Crawford is, bullshit. All these cats out here know who the hell Crawford is. And of course everybody knows who Canelo is here in Texas. You put that shit in Houston, they know who Crawford is, they know who Canelo is. You put that shit in Dallas, San Antonio, wherever you put it, they know who Crawford and Canelo is. But it's probably best to put that event out in like Dallas in a stadium or something. But I don't know if they have enough time to really build up to that. But wherever they put it, it's going to get sold. I believe it'll get sold out. That's just my opinion. But anyway, man, just sit back and see how it all plays out. Got a little, remember that show, that movie Big Trouble in Little China? You got Big Trouble with Little Turkey right now. And he's trying to figure out, I think he's trying to figure out what to do. This whole thing about Netflix, ESPN, DAZN, blah, blah, blah. I don't see why it's so difficult. Everything's been running so smooth for Turkey before. I don't know why all of a sudden it's becoming so difficult, especially since Donald Trump was just out there in Saudi Arabia and the Saudis, invested billions in the United States. Part of that was for them to, with their sporting programs, to ensure they could expand here into the United States and keep growing the sport and drawing attention to Saudi, to get people to view it as a destination, to help boost tourism and overall and help reverse how people see the country. So let's sit back and see how it goes, But one thing I'll tell you is, when it comes to Netflix, right, they originally reported to be in play for the super middleweight bout between Crawford and Canelo. And this is the thing. They expected Crawford and Canelo to generate between 1.8 and 2 million streams, kind of like what Jake Paul and Mike Tyson did. Now, I don't know what's going on. And I don't even know how they can confidently say that Canelo and Crawford are going to generate the same amount of streams as Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And let's be real about this. We're talking about Mike Tyson, man. Everybody watched that Jake Paul shit because of Mike Tyson. All of us were still expecting to see Mike Tyson just to show a glimpse of what he was. And after watching that fight, I think most of us concluded that fight was staged for Tyson to make 20, 25 million, whatever he made, lose, an official loss on his record, Jake Paul get an official win on his record, and Jake Paul go on to continue doing what he's doing. That shit was staged. That wasn't no real fight. When you see Mike Tyson pulling back on his punches, and Jake Paul wasn't going for the kill. So, come on, man. And when people say Jake Paul trying to knock him out, he couldn't. Nah, that whole thing was staged. It was a shit sandwich. But the build-up was cool. The fight was a dud. Let's see how everything plays out between Canelo and Crawford. I personally think it's off for now. I hope it doesn't go to Saudi Arabia. I hope it stays in the States. But they're trying to figure it out, man. So right now everybody's waiting in a holding pattern, and fans are too. And when that happens, that means that everything's on hold. And when something's on hold, that means it's not on. I mean it's off. Because if the green light, if the green light was given, they wouldn't be in this position. So let's see. I'm sure Turkey she can work it out. It ain't like the man can't write $1 trillion check and change people's minds on shit. Anyway, y'all keep cool in the breeze.